Hello, hello. Welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast. That is more, a.k.a. the Yum Yum Foodie. Of course, Megan is with me here with, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at with the side of your head. She walks in the studio and I'm like, Megan, look, you look like Princess Leia. And she's like, it's socks.
That's sock curls.
Sock? What the fuck is a sock curl?
Watch. My hair's going to be super curly.
Whoa, look at that shit. Wow. And it's funny because usually people with curly hair are like, I'm going to straighten my hair.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah, you're the opposite.
I put socks in my hair to curl.
It is called Kill the Bottle Podcast, and we have a guest on in just a moment, which I'll introduce, but I wanted to share what we're drinking today. It's a little special release. As you know, we've had it on the show before. We've drank Santa Teresa 1796 rum. Look at Megan, you're fancy free. I don't know what the fucking commercial is that says that. Fancy free with your middle finger socks. Can I introduce what we're drinking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you alcoholic. Anyway, we are drinking a really special edition of Santa Teresa 1796. And if you live near or close to a Total Wine, this is the only place you can get it. They have an exclusive deal with this particular expression. It is a cacao cask finish. For those of you who didn't know, in Venezuela, they grow many things. One of those things, besides coffee, sugarcane, and all the things that go into this rum, they grow a DOC cacao. Yeah, the same way like there's DOC for wine, denominación de origen controlada, as they say in Spanish, or I don't know how it's said in Italian, but same shit. It's a controlled and distinct origin cacao, and the barrels that this is aged in for an additional 9 months age a coffee, like a cold brew coffee and rum and cacao. So they drop a little 1796 in there for 9 months, and we get this really gorgeous cacao finish expression, and this shit's too good to not drink neat. So that's what Megan and I...
a lot of cuh.
A lot of cuh?
You spit on
a lot
me.
of cuh?
A little cock.
A little cock? Little cock? A little...
Too much.
Too much? Curly Sue? Anyway.
Cacao.
That is what we're... Cacao. Look. I wanted to say DOC. I just like saying denominación de origen controlada, so people know that I speak Spanish. And then, I speak English with this accent. That way, if I get pulled over by ICE this weekend, I can tell them to fuck off in Spanish and English.
Yeah,
which is always kind of
taking you first.
They're probably going to take me first.
They're not sending me back to Ireland.
They haven't seen your dating pool.
No.
They would probably take you first.
They take my dating pool.
They definitely take your dating pool. Okay, so Kill the Bottle Podcast. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our guest. He's what happens when you mix Michelin stars and Stern Show fandom, because that's how he and I met. He went from making meatballs with his nana to earning Michelin stars at Guy Savoy. He won King of Pork, P-O-R-C. I just want to say that. I don't know why it's spelled P-O-R-C, but King of Pork at Grand Cochon, named Chef of the Year by San Francisco Chronicle. He's opened over 40 restaurants with the Michael Mina Group. He dropped Jaws at Sorrel in Charleston, South Carolina. That's a really special restaurant. He's a chef. He's a fucking savage. Probably the only guy who could cook perfect, duck breast while quoting Artie Lang. He recently opened his own hospitality group, which we'll talk about a little bit, but want to welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast, finally, my friend, Chef Adam Sobel.
Eddie, thank you so much for having me, man. It's been too long. I miss you, man.
I know. I miss you, man.
Our text messages are always... I always look forward to getting a text message from you.
Yeah, but I want to tell just a quick story of... Yeah, Megan, please. Megan just ignores mine. So
Thank you, Megan.
This is the homie Megan, but this is the level of kinship that you develop with anybody who is a Howard Stern fan. And we don't always just, we're not wearing shirts like Beetlejuice shirts or anything as we walk around. We just quietly live amongst the normal folk. And I'll never forget, I was at Arroyo Seco Music Festival as a guest to cover some of the culinary scene, and I went to check out this one kiosk booth, and I heard Howard Stern quotes coming out of the back, and it turned into a back and forth of pun Howard Stern quote yelling, and I was like, my brothers, my kinship. That's how Adam and I met.
69!
Yes, that's what it was. We were quoting our friend Ronnie the limo driver. Yes, with check number 69. It was Kismet.
Yep. And Eddie, I got to thank you. You were so kind. We became friends that day, and we had we recognized how much we had in common. And you made a dream come true for me. You brought the gang to Calmare.
Oh yeah.
At the restaurant. The Stern crew was in LA doing the show in Hollywood at Sirius, and Eddie brought them in for dinner at Calamari, and it was like,
it was
really,
fun.
really.
It was super fun night. And then the best part for me was, well, they didn't mention it on the show, which is fine because it wasn't a commercial. It was just these guys were coming to hang out. But what they did mention the next day on the show, so there's I say character, but he's a lovely guy who works on the Stern Show, but he is the butt of so many jokes. And it used to always be his level of like burger with bread and just ketchup kind of thing person. And he had caviar for the first time at Calamari. And they talked about it the next day on the show that JD had caviar. And I was like, I know that motherfucker had caviar because I was with him.
And octopus, yeah. And he ate octopus and he loved it. And it, like, honestly, I think that experience really opened his, it broadened his horizons with food and wine. And it might have been his first true fine dining experience.
I think so. Yeah, it opened his horizons. It probably opened his belt a little bit like the last few years because I'm you know what? I love him. I'm not going to bust his balls because he's been nothing but nice. And I never bust his balls. I'm always like very nice. He's like the nicest guy. We both play video games. I don't know. Okay. So real quick. Oh, sorry. I see. Here's the problem also, Megan. When you're around Stern Show people, I was about to go real quick because it's a thing. Where are you now? Because he's all over the place.
Yeah, I'm on a Southeast tour. So I had a 4-city set: Charlotte, Charleston, Nashville, Miami. Miami got canceled, so I redirected to Chattanooga to visit some of my best friends. And currently I'm in Nashville. I head back to Las Vegas tomorrow.
And what is the tour for? Is it secret?
Well, not necessarily a secret, but with the new company, Aether Group, I'm actively pursuing deals with luxury partners and developers. So I had some great meetings in Charleston. We're going to have some cool things to announce about that in the near future. Nashville just wrapped up with something spectacular. We've got a big dinner meeting tonight. Miami got canceled, but we're going to reconvene at a later date. So I'm deal hunting and working on some projects. So that's what has me on the tour.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, how did my hometown fuck it up? Because Miami canceled. I'm like, what did Miami do?
It was due to travel. The owners of a really, really cool, legendary hotel were unable to get to Miami for just due to weather issues. So we thought it was better just to wait for another time, maybe in the next 2 weeks.
I was hoping Miami just fucked it up because that's too benign. Miami, fine, all right, fine. You did what you were supposed to do, Miami.
Florida.
Most dangerous city in the world, by the way.
My hometown. Oh, I know.
Absolutely.
It's dangerous for obvious reasons. It's also dangerous for any single man. It's also dangerous for any man who's never met a Colombian or Venezuelan or Cuban woman who's also happens to be single. I mean, there's really a multitude.
Women are safe? It's just scary for men?
I don't know how safe the women are. I don't know how safe the women are, Megan.
It's dangerous for all walks of life.
All people.
And it's like this weird, I live in Vegas, guys, and I'm a professional. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer when it comes to being able to party and hang. But Miami has there's just something about it. There's this, I don't know, like the party just never stops.
Yeah.
And it's like, hitting the off switch is very, very difficult for some reason. I don't know if it's the weather, that there's a sexy vibe about the air. Like, Jess and I, my wife, we were in Miami a couple of weeks ago, and it's like we were out till 7 a.m. every night.
Yeah,
that happens there.
What do we do?
But you're in Vegas. I mean, that's all night too.
Different.
Yeah, like Vegas, nobody lives near where all that shit happens.
Right.
Everybody lives somewhere. In Miami, literally, there's Club Space, which is open till 10 a.m, and there's all footage of like joggers walking by, and there's a line of dickheads just waiting to get in and do methamphetamines or whatever the fuck. I don't even know what they're doing now. But like literally, it's
sounds nice.
And the thing is, I love my hometown. will talk the most shit about my hometown ever because I'm allowed to. I'm not a defender of bullshit. No. When they mess up, they deserve to be messed up. But I noticed you wearing a Yankee hat. Where did this start? Where is the origin of Adam Sobel?
I was born this way. So I was born a Yankee. I grew up in New York.
The Yankees hat on?
And my dad, my grandfather is was born in the Bronx, first generation American, and then moved to Long Island, and we're lifelong Yankee fans. Look, I've been blessed. The Yankees are the most successful franchise in American sports. However, there's a curse. Being a Knicks fan, there's been absolute misery. The Giants I've had some success with, but that's been mostly miserable. The New York Rangers are absolute misery. So, like, being a New York sports fan, it's not easy, and but it's the way of life for me. And I'm a diehard, psychotic sports fan. So it's like this. I wish it wasn't this way, but it's a lot of pain and agony.
Yeah, and you're just kind of committed to it at that point, right? You just
committed. So
there's got to be an upside at some point.
I wear my Yankee hat, but you should see my socks and underwear.
What underwear? Stop bullshitting. Don't front, dude.
Yankee thong on.
You have a Yankee thong. Well, no, I wanted to take it back because one thing I first of all, this dude is a fucking badass of a chef, and I just will say it, loud and proud. But just one of the just like the best dudes, like a real dude, like a real good person. And regardless of meeting you and knowing you personally, people that have worked for you and with you, like friend of the show Joe Sasto, will say it wholeheartedly as well. Just how much of a mentor and just because chefs have this. Every time you see a chef on TV, they're a fucking maniac. They're an asshole. And I understand if your name is on the place, you have to have a certain level of standards of quality and those things. I mean, of course, because nobody blames Dom in the back who's watching the Yankee game on his phone and like fucks up the meatballs, right? They blame Adam, whose name is on the restaurant. So I get that. Right. But I think there's a way of nurturing with still having that level of excellence. Was there somebody in your career that kind of mirrored that for you that you really absorbed?
Yeah, and thank you for those kind words, brother.
It's the truth, man.
Look, I've had my moments. Am I proud of every step of the way? Maybe when you're younger and you're little, you had a short fuse and you lack empathy. Maybe I wasn't the best mentor always, but I've always had good intentions to share knowledge, to teach, to pass on legacy, to really be someone that is there, because I wouldn't be where I am without the most amazing mentorship. And honestly, something that happened recently, I lost my mentor, one of my best friends, Chef John Murphy. Literally, I met him when I was 15. He was my first chef instructor at Nassau, BOCES. It's called Barry Tech. And that's where I was really introduced to culinary arts on a professional level. And I was a fucked up student. I was not going to get out of high school. My mom recognized that I was attracted to the kitchen and I had a natural ability to cook. And she thought it would be a good idea to enroll in culinary arts because she didn't think it was going to be, she saw it was unlikely that I was going to graduate high school. The first day I stepped foot in John Murphy's class, my life changed. Literally, I felt like he saw something in me, and it was the first time in my life where I felt like I had a purpose and I was really meant to do something with myself. And his confidence in me and how he lifted me up, he was the only person, and this is tough to say. My mom doesn't like to hear this, but at that time, no one believed in me. And I didn't give my parents a lot of reason to believe in me. I was a pain in the ass. But Murph did. And God rest his soul and God bless it, was the greatest and kindest man I've ever known. And he has been with me every step of the way. And his mentorship, his patience, his empathy, his kindness definitely rubbed off on me. And when I would become a bit of an asshole and needed to be checked, Murph did that. And the same goes for other mentors. Michael Mina, the last almost 15 years of my life being attached to his hip and watching him operate and how he has helped really mold me into the restaurateur and not just chef, but have a business mind and treat people with dignity and respect. It means the world. So look, as I move forward with this new venture and I'm really starting to blow things up, I'll always have Murph on my shoulder in my ear, and I'll always have Michael. These guys are always with me, and thank God Michael is though I left Mina Group, he's invested into the company, and he's very much my mentor daily.
Well, not everybody plays for Pat Riley their entire career, right? But when they see Pat Riley and they come back and they're playing for the other team, they always go over and they give him a hug, Yeah. And it's that kind of thing. Sometimes it is time to move on. That's the only way to grow. So, yeah, and I think that's advice for anybody, right? There's always going to be a time where you have to take a risk. It could be obviously a calculated risk, but it's that time to basically what I'm trying to tell you, Megan, is it's time for me. No, but it's like it's sometimes you really have to in life is find that moment or I don't know, and you tell me.
But leave on good terms. Let's really put that in.
Absolutely.
That's a big one.
It's very important. It's very important. Like or sometimes terms can be misinterpreted as not good terms because somebody
good relationships.
Yeah, because of the like the LeBron leaving Miami. I use that as an example because as you're a diehard New York fan, I'm a diehard Miami sports fan, and that could be misinterpreted and there's words said, but time heals. And, you realize what it was best for that person. It's not always what's best for you. Best for the person that's being left per se or moved on from. But it is best for that, the person who's moving on, I think.
Are you done?
Yeah, and it came down, it was a very simple thing.
I could tell you're turning red, Megan. That's why. Yeah.
Cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
For this situation, it was like, okay, I arguably had the best chef job in the world. Very secure, work with the best teams, the best partners, access to anything, anywhere across the world. I mean, really. So it came down to like, look, am I going to die and not bet on myself with all this work that I've done to become a well-rounded business mind and also have the creative piece? It came down to that was really it. So having that conversation with Michael, I don't know why I was shitting my pants about it, but it was
it's a lot.
I was so nervous because of my respect and love for him. I was so nervous about having that conversation. And it was one of the hardest things I've had to do for some reason, even though I knew it was time.
Yeah.
Having that conversation was terrifying. And it was actually like, he was so supportive and has been, and he's my brother. So anyway,
it's like you wish for them to break up with you. You're like, can you just fire me, please, so that I can.
Oh my God. I would love to go through your contact list in your phone just to see all these names, these amazing people that you dropped at the beginning too. You said culinary arts. So you were 15, you said?
15, yeah.
So where was this that you could send your 15-year-old to culinary arts school?
So that's a great question. So and I think they have it's a vocational school. It's BOCES. So like you would split your high school day. In the mornings, you would take a vocational course, and then the afternoon you would do high school. Then year 2, it would flip-flop. Then you do regular school in the morning and then go to VOTEC in the afternoon.
Wow.
So there was a culinary program that literally was unbelievable. And I was a really great soccer player. And my senior year, I decided not to play soccer because I was focused on working, and I had a great job at the Piping Rock Club. And I worked for a master chef at the time, and I just like, fuck it. I'm done with soccer. I'm just going to focus on, I would leave school early to go to work. I mean,
that's
wow.
I mean, it was crazy. It was, and I have these memoirs. One day, maybe it'll become a book or a TV show, but like these from the early days until now, like kind of touching upon like these characters that I've come across and have collected in these relationships, and the celebrities and the athletes and the musicians, crazy shit, like things I could never even dreamt, so it started, at 15. So that was really how it really got launched. And I started working professionally at that time in the best restaurant on Long Island. Was called the Weeping Willow in Farmingdale. And then I went to the Piping Rock Club, and then John Johnstone became the chef of Tavern on the Green. And I was the youngest chef de partie at the busiest restaurant in America in 1997.
Wow.
And then worked through Manhattan and then went to the CIA up in Hyde Park, New York. And that was kind of like the next phase of the career. That's where we met. Some more relationships were developed. Moved to Chicago, worked for Charlie Trotter. Went to Las Vegas in 2002, 2003. Opened up Bradley Ogden's at Caesar's Palace. We won a James Beard Award for Best New Restaurant in America. We were 23-year-old kids that didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
That's crazy.
Insane. Yeah. So, like the story is just, when I look back on it, because it's almost 30 years I've been doing this, which is just wild. It's been a dream, and just like, it's been a lot of hard work, but not really, because this is what I was born to do. So
I can tell when you're talking about it. Like, I know when people hate their jobs when they talk about it, and I could tell you're super, super proud of it. I wish that, I think schools are starting to gear more towards that career and technical education stuff, but I really wish that I would have gotten more of like a taste of a job that I would like to have when I was a teenager, and instead of being, taking algebra 3 times because I failed it, like, I wish they would have put me in a kitchen. I wish I would have been able to do that, and they didn't. So that's a really cool opportunity that you had.
Yeah, Megan, the thing is, a lot of kids don't, if they're not, everyone's made for the classroom. Like, I'm really bad at math. I don't learn that way. And so many kids get like misdiagnosed, or they're labeled as losers, or they're troubled, or whatever. It's because of, well, look, sometimes they are troubled and they're not, but a lot of times they don't have the right
outlet.
It's just that it's not the right fit,
mm-hmm.
and they don't have the right mentor, and they don't have someone that believes in them. So that's something actually I'm going to, I work on, is with young culinary students or young students, that not, the greatest gift in someone's life is to be able to find what they were meant to do, right? Or like have a purpose. So that's something that a charity piece that I really take seriously. And, it's going to be a big part of our company and what we do as a group in developing young talent and helping them find a path.
You said young. How about I'm not just saying, like a 36-year-old, 37-year-old female still looking for her purpose?
37-year-old female.
Can you mentor those too?
Absolutely. If it's within someone, and if you want to work hard and it's within you, I would gladly take you under the wing.
Yes.
All right. So, Eddie, you might need to find a new assistant.
Assistant. I wish she was an assistant. That'd be awesome. Ask her to do anything, even nicely.
Fuck you.
And she's such an asshole.
I would never do anything for you.
Yeah, ever. No, she'll drink all of my shit. That's
absolutely. Thank you for that.
No, you're welcome.
I'll say thank you.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, I don't do that.
No, she doesn't do that. But she will want compliments on her new curly hair.
It looks different, doesn't it?
It does. I don't recognize you. Who is this person?
She got up and got dressed today. It's weird.
What is this?
Anyway, enough about me.
One thing I did not know about Adam was that you've done some private chef stuff, and some of the names that pop up in your private chefdom are fucking crazy, dude. Elton John, Celine Dion, Mick Jagger.
Oh my god!
I just like saying Celine Dion.
So I want to see his contact list.
Well, no, but I'm always curious because I have a lot of friends that are chefs, and opportunities pop up to be in the room and get to cook for somebody who, let's be real, who can afford to pay you to cook for them. How does that? Well, I mean, fair, but still, like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, every time I hear that people are having like these rich people have dinner parties, I go, how much did that fucking cost? Because I know how much a mediocre chef costs. I can't fathom what, like, you know what I mean? Like a really good chef costs. Anyway. Yeah, and I'm sure you would cook for Howard for nothing, because that's a different story.
He wouldn't eat much, but I would try to cook for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. You can make him hot water and chicken. Really, that's the extent of his culinary. That's what he says, but that's bullshit. I know that guy eats. How does that come about for you? Was there like a oh shit moment, or what's been an oh shit moment where you're like, holy fuck, I'm gonna cook for this person?
So a lot of that stuff was just being in the right place at the right time and then relationship. So like at Caesars, when Celine opened up her show, we opened our restaurant almost simultaneously. So we would find ourselves being asked to do private dinners and things like that. And then the relationship evolves. They give you a call. Hey, Adam, are you available to do this and this for Celine and Renee? And or like when Elton had the Red Piano show at Caesars, him and his husband David would come in almost every night after the show, and I would cook for them personally and sit and hang. And Elton would tell me these fucking crazy stories about the '70s, like just wild shit. So before the movie came out, I kind of knew these stories, and he would tell me these, just amazing rock and roll, like, I mean, literally, it was like a movie, And then, so a lot of that stuff presents itself out of relation, like, look, making delicious food, showing great hospitality, being genuine and trustworthy. Then, you get called on to do these really cool things. Like the Mick Jagger situation, I almost shit my pants.
I mean, yeah.
I was just so, I don't ever, it's very rare that I'm speechless or get like starstruck.
Same.
But it happened twice. That with Mick, and this was at Four Seasons years ago. He was staying in the Royal Suite, and I knock on the door, and he opens it, and I'm eye to eye with Mick Jagger. I'm just like,
and he's got some big eyes.
Those are some eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Right. Exactly.
And then another time was Derek Jeter. And
for you, that's got to be insane.
I knew he was coming to the restaurant. The Yankees were playing the Orioles in Baltimore, and we had a restaurant at the Four Seasons there. And the Yankees were staying at the hotel. So I planned my weekend. I'm like, I'm coming in, and I'm going to be at the restaurant. And Jeter's having dinner with his now wife. And I go to the table, and I'm like, Mr. Jeter, so happy to have you with us tonight. And like, he starts speaking. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, I'm Adam. And then like, he asked a couple of questions, and I just froze.
Oh, no.
And they both look at me like, is this dude okay? I'm like, I hope you enjoy everything. I'm going to run back to the kitchen like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. So, but that is always so cool, like having the opportunity to meet just extraordinary people, whether they're athletes, musicians, scientists.
Obama? No, really
cool,
didn't you cook for people. Obama?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah.
So, like, question: when you cook for somebody that has Secret Service, what is the process of plate to table as far as like a safety check? I'm assuming, I don't know.
I want this.
I'm curious.
Oh, if there's anyone out there, I don't want to make a bad joke. I don't want to get. But anyway,
looks around.
It's less protective than you would think. If anyone wants to know.
Got it. No, fair. But I'm like, I could probably think of a handful of people that I would really be excited to meet.
We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
We like had if there's a celebrity that made you like would freeze me up. It would be like Johnny Depp. I said. Who did you say?
I don't remember anymore.
Steve Buscemi.
No, that's you,
that's
Steve
me.
Buscemi.
So
she wants to bang Steve
he's
Buscemi.
So hot. I love Steve Buscemi.
He's awesome. I don't know if you would see him on the cover of like Men's Fitness.
God, I can't. His eyes. Beautiful.
But I don't know. Men's Fitness is all I could think of. Really, I don't even know what like GQ. Sorry, I don't think you would see him as like GQ's sexiest man alive kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I get it. I understand the appeal of a Steve Buscemi.
When I met Thomas Keller, I froze up a little bit. I was just like,
Well, that's also because you thought the check at the French Laundry was going to be a mortgage payment.
I know.
So let's be, No, I'm just kidding. I would like, TK is a special dude. Like
he is a special dude for sure. And I have known him for many years, and I'm always in awe of his presence. Same with Michael and Thomas are very good friends, and Michael gets a little nervous when he's around. It's just he has that effect on people. It's because of the respect, and they're kind of living legends. So
like I'm curious to these moments because they kind of fall into any career. It could be you're a school teacher. It could be I don't know, like really any career. But there's always these like an oh shit, I'm not in Kansas anymore moment. You've worked with Trotter, Balud, Guy Savoy. Has there been, or what was that moment in the kitchen after CIA? Like you feel like you've done everything, and then you have an oh shit moment, whether it's a new technique, whether it's something that just blew your fucking mind.
You know I don't want to sound like cliche or whatever, but like that shit happens all the time. I still have those shit moments. Whether it's doing the TV stuff and like I'm like, oh shit, I'm on Tournament of Champions. Fuck hell, like pinch me. The smoke, it's like you're on set and you're just like, wow, this is incredible. Or, could be on an R&D trip, to source certain product for the restaurants. And I'm in Sardinia making andorini pastas with the nonas or clorgiones, learning how to make the right dumpling fold. You pinch yourself like, this is a dream come true. So very blessed that those moments continuously happen because of, well, I'm always going to be a student to this craft. And for example, I've got something crazy coming up next week that like I never in my wildest dreams thought that this could ever happen.
Well, this won't be out for a couple of weeks. So if it's actually going to come out next week, you could say it now and you'll have already announced it.
Yeah, I think we have 3 more weeks before
so guys, like this is nuts. I'm going to be doing something for Major League Baseball Network with Bernie Williams, where I'm going to teach him how to make a dish and he's going to teach me how to play a song on the guitar. Bernie Williams is my favorite Yankee. All right.
That's awesome. Center field, number 51. Yeah.
I'm sweating thinking about like that's oh shit, like this stuff is just incredible.
The only bad part is you got to go to Jersey for that, where MLB Network is. I'm sorry.
No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna shoot at Christian Petroni's.
Okay, all right. So you don't have to go to. I love making fun of Jersey. I lived there for a minute. Sorry.
Just shoot right up through Yonkers to Port Chester. So, it's just incredible. So that stuff. Every day, I'm just honestly, I don't like I said, I don't want to sound corny or whatever, but like it's a blessing, man. This life. I'm in pinch me moments quite often. So.
I'm thinking of the last time I saw you in person, and I'm just remembering this now. It was before the pandemic. It was at the barbecue restaurant that was opening up in North Miami. Steph Curry showed up. That was the last time I saw you, and that was actually the one time that I met Michael. And my question is, what was it? I'm sorry? I'm trying to...
That's great international smoke.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long.
It's been that long. Well, it's funny with the internet now and so many ways to communicate, and you feel like you see people all the time, and I feel like I communicate with you on a weekly basis. But my question is, when you put so much love and so much effort, there's so many things that are beyond your control, right? And, just thinking now, and the last time I saw you, that restaurant isn't there anymore. How do you create a disconnect with something that you've put so much love and effort to? Or like, how do you cope with that? The things that are out of your control that may force something to have to close its doors?
That's a really great question. Very thoughtful. I don't want to say that's never easy because to birth a restaurant, right? The process from going from design, the conceptual piece of it, designing it, building it, staffing it, training it, watering it daily, feeding it every day, and that nurturing process. Oh, it's a labor of love. That's like, it's like a child, right? So when it doesn't succeed or something negative happens, it's a gut punch. But the reality is it's business, and the restaurant business is really hard. So sometimes concepts aren't the right fit. Maybe there are factors that you can control that makes it harder. If you know that you fucked up and you played a role in why maybe it didn't succeed, that hurts really badly. Thankfully, I don't want to sound egotistical, but I don't have a lot of those. But there are restaurants that like, maybe I could have done something different. A different approach, or maybe changed up our offerings a little bit. Maybe that would have bought us more time. But you know, you lose sleep over it for sure. But it also fuels the fire to make sure you learn from those mistakes. You make sure you apply the learnings to the new projects, and you try never to have those moments of failure. But it's really hard in our world. The business it's a tough one.
But,
one of the hardest.
Well, I mean, you know, your batting average, if you were going to talk baseballs, would be, you know, Hall of Fame wise, considering the amount of concepts that are put together, and you know what I mean. Let's just talk averages, right? Is there a secret sauce? Is there maybe a checklist that you have that it can help build a brand that lasts industry that you're taking with you to Athena Group?
Yeah, glad you asked that question, because I just was on another friend's podcast, Matt Jennings with Magic and Magic AI. And what they're doing is brilliant. And they asked me that question. It's about like, okay, how do you scale? How do you build business? How do you keep consistent? How do you go from one restaurant? Because the hardest thing, it's not going from one restaurant to two. It's going from one restaurant to three, and then 3 to 7. How do you keep consistency? How do you be in multiple places at multiple times as the leader or the founder or the owner? And there's only one way to do that, and that's having systems and SOPs and training with efficiency and follow through and accountability, right? So there's only one way to prevent, or to minimize failure in restaurants, and that's having really great systems, hiring properly, training even better, and then following through even more better. How's that?
No, but fair. And for the folks, what is that acronym? What is SOP?
Standard operating procedure.
Got it. Standard operating procedure. Because I mean, I'll use an example of, I remember being in Nashville when I was shooting my NBC pilot in Nashville. My one night of my dinner before filming or before rehearsal day was at Bourbon Steak, because I was staying at the hotel adjacent to it. Speaking of Michael Mina Group, and it was fucking phenomenal. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I use Hillstone Group as almost a flagship in that SOP, let's say, because no matter which Hillstone restaurant you go to, there's a certain level of procedure, whether you like it or not, it works. And Hillstone being, sorry guys, Houston's, obviously Hillstone. If you're in Napa, Rutherford Grill, there's a certain level of standard. And then when I go to Bourbon Steak on that rooftop in Nashville, I was like, fuck, you did it here again? Damn you. And I mean that in the best way possible, but I envy that.
I appreciate that. That really goes to, it's the team. And my boy Gerald Chin really was the driver for that. But that is a great example of like scalability and excellence, because you go have that experience in Nashville, and then you go to New York at Essex House, and the Bourbon Steak there is just as spectacular. Or you go to DC
or Glendale, right down the street from me, and it's just as spectacular.
So it's not coincidence. That comes from having great standard operating procedures. That comes from great training. That comes from managing daily. That comes from having really high standards of excellence, and having the support from great partners too. Because look, you got to have great partners. For example, the JW in Nashville, they're amazing partners that allow us to succeed and provide the right tools to be successful. So it's like, you got to have, that's the secret sauce. Going back to the root question, what's the secret sauce? Well, having great systems, having great partners, and then having that, understanding what great hospitality means, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Do you have, or what is, because I'm going to bring it to you in a Howard Stern way, the joke with Howard, and he talks about how he never fires anybody, right? Yeah. He has people that have exposed themselves in the office, not part of shtick, not on the air, and have been caught exposing themselves, and were not fired, only have been working him for over 20 years. What is the red flag, or where do you draw? No, but what is a red flag for you on your end that what? Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out the question, because I can't fathom having to fire somebody, and I'm sure you've had to do it at some point. And what is How do you approach that? Like, at what point do you draw the line where you're like, yeah, this is just unacceptable at this point?
So this has been like my evolution as a human being and also as a chef. Back in the day, it used to be as simple as like, get the fuck out of here. Like you throw someone's fucking up and they're pissing you off. It was a lot of like passive aggressiveness where it was like you would call somebody out on something, but you never actually sat them down and then explained what the problem was. There was no coach. There was no like documenting and then coaching through and giving a person a chance to correct themselves, right? So now it's like, okay, you're at a point now, and the world is different also. Like 20 years ago, you can throw somebody out the back door of the restaurant and they go fuck themselves, and that's it. Bye. That today you have a lawsuit, and you could potentially, bankrupt the restaurant because of how you handle a certain situation. Simple as this: if someone's underperforming and not to your standard, you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, did I set this person up for success? And if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, yes, I did, then you can be like, okay, now we're going to start the documentation period. Okay, Ronnie, let's sit down and talk about what happened today. Why wasn't your Garmager station set up on time? Why did you run out of, tomato sauce? How are we going to fix this? Go through the process. If it happens the following day again or 2 days later, you document it. It's like it's a 3-strike kind of thing at that point, where like if somebody is consistently fucking up and showing that they don't care, they're sabotaging the operation, we'll go through the process of writing them up, documenting, coaching, trying to correct. And if it's not going to happen and they're literally there to sabotage you, it's like, hey, look, it's not working out. You have their final paycheck ready. There's no physical, there's no cursing. There's no reason to get upset. You're not a good fit for the operation. We're going to part ways. So I'm proud of myself being able to evolve into a human being. But it's changed.
And you're a
lot.
Yankee fan? That's impressive. I can't imagine you behind the dugout when, depending on which umpire's back there calling balls and strikes. That's great.
I feel like I could sue so many people.
I know a few people that you could sue.
I could sue so many people for my history. Wow, terrible bosses. I've been thrown out. I've been cussed out. I've been just not put on the schedule, not explained why I wasn't working anymore. Like I've had horrible.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot.
You know what? Like, look, the whole industry has grown tremendously. So like the people that may have treated you that way, maybe they didn't know better at the time. Not making excuses for shitty behavior, but just like, look, no one ever trained me how to be a great sous chef, all right? He went from being the best cook in the kitchen to being the worst manager in the world, right? So, everyone needs a little bit of slack cut to them in the past sucks. But the great thing is you can evolve as a human and be a better, don't repeat the mistakes of the past, so to speak.
Got it.
I try to take lessons from that. I know that I was working at a restaurant for a while under a guy that pretty much owned every bar in the town I was in. And
was his last name Chili's? No.
It was Gentry. It was his last name. Shit. One of the bars was called Gentry's. It wasn't Chili's. That was the only bar in town.
I just the only thing I could think of that sounded funny. Sorry. All right.
But he was a dick, and I still think he's a dick. But I'll never forget it. He was yelling at me. I was bartending, serving, hosting. It was just me. And he's playing a video game in the corner with his co-partner. And I'm just getting slammed. And they look and see someone waiting at the door while I'm making drinks and taking orders. And I'm the only one there. And he goes, Megan, the door. And I gave him a look. I was like, you go help? Like, and he was like, he let me go get to the door, but then he came back and he said, do you want to run this place? You throw down the money and you run it then. Otherwise, shut up and do what I say. And It was one of those moments. Yeah, I'll never forget it because he's right. If I wanted to run the place, I just need to run it. Otherwise, just shut your mouth and do a really good job and do what the boss says is kind of the lesson I took from that, which has helped me in a lot of other positions in my life where it's like, okay, just do what they're the ones they're the ones paying you. So keep it positive.
Look, Megan. We can find a psychologist for you to talk to. We can work through this stuff.
just made me work harder to not work there anymore. Made me get a degree. Yeah. But it's now I'm doing way better than he is, I think. And it's fine. But it was just, that's my history of restaurants.
Right. And you're kind. And now you have some understanding and like, you would never want to treat somebody like that. So look, there's learnings and silver linings, all kinds of shit like that. And
but he's right. He owned the business. So shut up and do your job.
But speaking of that, have you had a moment, Adam, where you said to yourself, I just have to work harder to not have to work here anymore?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Every job I've ever taken was with intent and purpose. And like, I got what I needed to get out of it. It wasn't like they were natural stepping stones. So maybe subconsciously, yes, that was what you're saying was what I was doing, but I didn't have content or or discontent, I should say. I wasn't upset about ever working anywhere where I was like, oh, this place is fucking miserable. I can't wait.
You've never felt that way?
No, not maybe.
That's why there's not much gray in his beard.
He looks so happy and joyful.
Like, what is this? Fuck. Who needs Tony Robbins?
McDonald's. Guys, my first job was at McDonald's when I was 14.
I can see him just smiling.
I wish you would have saved a burger from that and put it in your cabinet, and it would still look the same now. And you could frame it and take it. Anyway, sorry.
That would be real.
So listen, this is a good story. You guys will really get a kick out of this. So McDonald's, 14, I was only allowed to work the register. But my whole group of friends all worked at this McDonald's in our town. There was like 12 of us. And
oh no, he froze.
I was allowed to drop fry bath.
Hold on 1 second. Let's start that right back up. Sorry, we froze for a hot second.
Low network bandwidth. Oh!
So I was always stoked about like dropping the fries, and I wanted to get back in the kitchen, but I wasn't allowed to because of labor laws. You had to be over 15 or 16 to work the grill or whatever.
Oh.
Anyway, I'd work the register, and even that was fun. We would on Sunday nights when we would close down the restaurant, it was during the Monopoly game piece period.
Oh yeah.
So the whole gang, we would like close the restaurant and then go back to like the storeroom where like the playpen was with the ball pit. And we'd go into the storage closet there and smoke weed and rip off the Monopoly game pieces as down wrappers.
There was a documentary about the Monopoly game pieces where people were like falsifying them and shit. I think it was on Netflix back in the day. Yeah.
Did you win anything?
Fries.
We would save all the winning pieces and we would give them to our friends to come and redeem them. So it was like we'd have like 100 small fries, like 20 nuggies. And we're doing this for like every Sunday for like weeks. And the owner, his name was Joe. I remember Joe. He caught on to what we were doing because he kept on having to buy hash brown fucking wrappers and the fries. We would just throw them all in the dumpster.
It's like the sales don't make sense.
It's like this isn't adding up.
And he fired the whole fucking team.
Oh no.
Like 12 of us got clipped, and they had to shut the restaurant down for a couple of days.
That is so funny. The most New York thing you've said right now is that you got clipped. Yeah. The only thing that's missing is saying you got pinched. That's the only... That's great.
God.
Oh, so funny. So like even that job, that was fun. Like we had a fucking great time. So like I've never had a job where I was like, this is misery. Thank God.
I'm jealous.
Knock on wood.
I think every job I've had, I've sat there at one point and been like, I fucking hate this.
Almost every job for me. Almost every job
Yeah.
I've had a moment that I've said to myself, this is the stepping stone. When you're thinking about or when you feel, I don't want to say down, or when your motivation's low or your mana is back and you're just like, I don't have the life force to get through this. Remember this moment. Remember how you feel. Remember what is possible for you and when you could potentially be. And then, push off of that. That's your, you hit first base and you're running to second now. Use first base to push off, right? And that, you have those moments. I was curious because of the, having worked in food television and seen some of the behind the scenes, Chopped, guys grocery games and Tournament of Champions, which is the most stressful for you?
Tournament of Champions. Oh my God, not even close.
Okay, why?
Because the other stuff is more lighthearted. Like I judged Chop, I never actually competed on that. So that like the guys' grocery games for years I was judging, but they didn't know that I had never competed. So you're not allowed to be a judge unless you've competed, but I somehow snuck through. And then when they found that out, they threw me under the bus. But TOC is just intense because it's like it's our NCAA tournament. You know, it's like you're going one-on-one, though you're really cooking against the randomizer. You're still like, you know, you've got to face Manit Chauhan, who's like just a ninja. She's a killer, trained killer. And you match yourself up and you're on such it's probably the number one show on Food Network. I think it gets, I don't know, 11 or 12 million viewers. It's a really,
in the world of today, that's huge.
show. So you get like, you know, you get all this viewership. Everyone's eyes are on you, and you got to perform, and you have to think quickly, and you want to show what you're made of. And getting that championship belt and that suitcase of money, it means a lot. It's not just those material items. It's about the clout of like, I just whacked, you know, 31 chefs and like won 5 straight competitions. That's a testament to like who the fuck you are as a chef. Like it requires being a bad human. So there's intensity, and like when, you know, obviously I haven't won it, but when you have a taste of victory, it's unbelievably addictive and like, holy smokes, amazing. And then when you lose, in that moment, it's awful. You don't sleep for a couple of days.
Ugh.
And then when you finally start to get over it, the episode airs again, and then you have to rewatch. It's like reopening a wound, you know? And you're like, motherfucker, like how did, you know, oh my God. Because sometimes, look, there's judging might be bullshit. I'm not saying that there's nothing rigged about it, but you may disagree with how your dish was criticized, or maybe like you know, I could have done something so much different. Why didn't I do this? It's like that Monday morning quarterback feeling.
Yeah.
That show requires a certain mental strength that is just different. So, long story short, Tournament of Champions is the hardest thing I've ever done.
What hill will you die on when it comes to dining or restaurant culture?
Oh, quality.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I take it personally when someone on the past puts up a plate and it's not quality and made with love, it's offensive to me.
Yeah.
So like I will die on that. It's like, guys, quality across the board. Quality. That's it.
And I was going to ask you about Aether Group. Where does that name come from?
So Aether is the magic that surrounds us. It's when you go to a restaurant, like what's your favorite restaurant, Eddie?
That changes constantly. I will tell you, probably right now in LA, it's going to be Verse in North Hollywood is my favorite restaurant right now.
Okay. Manny Marroquin is one of my buddies, my boys.
Okay,
right?
great. Because Manny's a G. Manny's a homie of mine.
He's the best.
Mhm.
Now, that's a great example, and that's a perfect example where you walk in and you feel a certain magic because of the time and how the attention to detail, how you're treated, how you're addressed, the music, the food, his son, the sommelier.
All the above.
You get this, so that magic, which some people you can understand it and describe it because you're in the industry, you know the business, but people why do they love that restaurant? It's the magic of all those things. So that's what Aether Group is. It's about being recognizing what that magic is and how to deliver it. That's where the name came from.
And
I love Hearst, by the way. That restaurant is just fucking awesome.
I was just there last Sunday. They're starting to do a Sunday supper vinyl series, and Chef Oscar is doing a couple of limited dishes just for Sunday. And that it's like, fuck. There's been so many times where I know Oscar's a friend, and I'll be like, fuck you, Oscar, you've ruined this for me. And he did that on Sunday with his hoe cake, his fucking cornmeal, badass Oaxacan cheese, amazingly sweet buttered on a fucking Sunday dinner. It was like, fuck you, Oscar. Like, it's for like, yeah, infinitely fuck you. But and that, I mean, and that's the biggest compliment I can give you is I've been very, I've been very blessed to have these opportunities and to not only have them, I think to have the wherewithal to appreciate them, if that makes sense, to understand that what I'm eating is special, to understand the TLC that goes into something. One thing we normally ask, we like to ask like a parting question, and I'm going to do it a little bit different for you. I just want to say, last meal scenario, what are you eating, drinking, and who's at the table? You can drink more than one thing. You can eat more than one thing.
Okay. Well, it would be
and at the table could be dead or alive.
I would want to do a multi-course meal. And it would be, oh boy, that's a really tough one. I mean, like, I really, really, really wish I could have met like Greg Allman or Dickie Betts. Like, I'm a big Allman Brothers fan. I'd really like Keith Richards to be around. I would like Mickey Mantle. I'd like my grandfather, Mel, and both grandfathers, Eddie and Mel. I would like a combination of like Jewish deli foods, like maybe Katz's Deli and like, pastrami and some matzo ball soup, maybe a couple of knishes and some kasha varnikas, and then maybe roll into my nana's like Sunday dinner where she'd do the pot of meatballs and sausage and brajol and homemade cavatelli with some ricotta salata, and then dessert would be something very Frenchified. We would go to Paris for dessert somewhere. Maybe
I like your thinking.
And then the drinks would just, it would be a mixture of everything. Like we would, tête de cuvée, champagne, vintage champagne, rolling into some Burgundies from
Burgundy.
from Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Great bourbons and scotch. I mean, it would just be a fucking wicked hangover. Wicked. And, but it would be a collection of like my people that, I miss, love, or maybe wish I could have met. All sports, music, food related, family, and the best. Look, there are two things I don't give a shit about when it comes to quality. I drink cheap beer. Actually, that's like shitty beer. Oh, and I don't need like super high quality pot. Like if I smoke weed, I like something homegrown and that's not gonna like paralyze me. So like cheap weed and pot.
So drug dealer weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need the government shit for our weed.
And Coors Lights.
Yeah.
But everything else that I consume in life has to be, it's all about
Quality.
artisanship and
Top
and quality. Right? Except for shitty weed and shitty beer.
Shitty weed, shitty beer, and back of McDonald's.
But
hash brown wrappers.
you mentioned knish, and I'm like, not to bring up another topic, I'm just so curious because a knish is something for me that I associate with when I was 19, 18 years old, and I don't remember exactly where I was 18 or 19, and I was living in Jersey, and I was an actor in New York City, and I used to take the PATH train to the city, to World Trade, and I would sit between the Twin Towers, and I would have a knish and coffee, and this was like every day. It was all I could afford. And now, ever since September 11, 2001, I have not had another knish because it just brings me back to that moment. Is there anything in your world that is that for you, that brings a memory that is hard for you to reconnect with? Because I can't eat another knish. I won't order one. It's such a cherished time in my life.
Men. I can't do men anymore.
You can't do men anymore? Yeah, that's what she says. That's what she... Let me not even get into it because that's for another show.
It brings me back every time.
No. She's like, oh, no, I'm done with this. And then I text her, I'm like, I fucked this guy or I said, I had so much sex with it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You just told me this person was out of your life.
It brings me back.
Are you Jekyll and Hyde?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry, Adam. It's about you.
Back to food.
Yeah, back to food. Or awesome. Burgundy.
You guys are fucking awesome. I don't know. I mean, I get sentimental. My Nana was really she was my everything. So like when I have certain things, it makes me sometimes smile or makes me sad. Sounds, but like those Sunday dinners, I feel like, I don't know, I think it's the opposite for me. There's nothing in particular that I'm like, I can't, because look, that 9/11 impact, that's something that you'll unfortunately will be with you for your life. And that was such a horrifying tragedy. Thank God I haven't had anything that has scarred me that way. So, but what I do have is like, I have to eat pasta on Sunday. Like if I don't have some sort of pasta on Sundays, I get fucking cranky and I'm weird.
You don't want to see him when he's cranky.
Sorry, Jess.
He turns green.
Make him
gets really
pasta
big.
on Sunday.
Sunday. It
All
seems like a
What
really
is
hard
one
ask.
thing that your wife makes better than you? Them's is
Was
fighting
that
words.
nothing? There's no words. Those are faces.
Look, my wife tries. She's the sweetest, most amazing person.
Say it a
She
little
tries-
louder. Is she there?
The best, the sweetest, most amazing, loving wife. I love you so much. But we know she knows the truth. She's not a great cook. She tries.
What does she try harder? What does she try harder to make better?
I wish there was some. I mean, she does. She makes some soups that are pretty good. But look, realistically, it's what I did. It's like, and she's like, "Do you know how to make this?"
Hey, Jeter, what's one pitch your wife can really hit out of the park? Sorry, I just found myself in that moment. Like, what the fuck am I asking Adam that for?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
funny.
So, well, but it's fine. I mean, the thing is, look, as she gets more confident in the kitchen, it's better. Like I'm always the one that's cooking. So it's like, I love when she throws down and makes dinner. It's quite lovely. So I don't complain. She's never made anything that's not edible,
Yeah.
Thank God. But, some things, there was she made a pork chop once that got me sick. But, I don't think that had to do
Undercooked
with
or
her.
overcooked?
I think the meat itself was the issue, and I came home from. I'll just make this short and sweet. Came home from like a road trip. I was gone for maybe an opening or something, and she was working all day to make dinner, and I was so thankful. It was so sweet of her because we hadn't seen each other in weeks, and we were having like a date night at home, and like she made this pork chop, and like I ate a few bites, and like when something's not right.
Right.
I was fucked. Like,
oh man.
For 2 months. And I swear to God, guys, I didn't eat anything all day. I had maybe like a bag of chips and like a Twix on the plate.
Yeah.
It was something that I ate earlier. So she has like PTSD about the time where I got food poisoning from her dinner. But I told him, like, it had nothing to do with you, Jess.
So Adam, cheers to you. First of all, I do have well, it's not even for topic of conversation. I have a bone to pick with you because I was at Bottle Rock and I had no fucking idea you were there.
Fuck, man.
I know, dude. I know. I found out later. I found out after the fact that you were there. But anyway, I love you to death. Secondly, the only thing we don't get back in life is time, and it's not to sound disingenuous, but it's the truth. Only thing we don't get back in life is time, and I want to just acknowledge you and thank you so much for spending some of your precious time here with Megan and I and with our guests here at Kill the Bottle Podcast. Guys, please follow Adam on social. He's at A Sobel. That's S-O-B as in boy, E-L. And there's just a shit ton of exciting stuff happening in his life. And I could tell you just from when I met you, there's just people you meet in your life that that they're going to do great things, no matter what it is, whether it's be a great husband, whether it's be a great restaurateur. You just know that when you meet certain people, and you're one of those people. So thank you so much for coming on here, and a Baba Booey to you. And I hope this experience was annoying.
Thank you. This was amazing. And thank you so much for the kind words. The feelings are mutual. I've been looking forward to doing this for a long time. Thank you for having me, guys. Megan, a pleasure to meet you. Keep busting his chops. It's good entertainment.
Yeah. So guys,
I can't wait
please.
to see you, brother. Let's make sure
please.
We gotta break some bread.
Next time I'm in Vegas, you, me, Ronnie, and Stephanie, and your wife, of course. We'll go out to dinner. We'll go to Ferraro's. We'll get some good wine, some good pasta. I love that. That's a place in Vegas that I fucking love. Ferraro's Italian restaurant right by the Sphere. Anyway, so guys, please like, rate, review, and show love to Adam on all things social media and any restaurant that you see within Aether Group. Please, guys, check it out if he comes to your town. It is worth the price of admission. Kill the Bottom Podcast. See you next week.